Number 10. Sugar makes kids hyper. All right, parents, gather round. For decades, we've all operated under the ironclad, universally accepted truth that if you give a kid a handful of candy, they'll bounce off the walls like a pinball. Birthdays, holidays, Tuesday afternoons, the moment that sugary goodness hits their tiny little systems, it's game over. You brace for the inevitable sugar rush, the boundless energy, the sudden inability to sit still for more than 0.7 seconds. It's just common sense, right? You've seen it with your own eyes. One gummy bear, and suddenly little Timmy is attempting parkour on your antique armoire. Except, here's the kicker. The science says, not so much. Multiple studies, real deal, peer-reviewed scientific investigations have consistently failed to find a direct link between sugar consumption and hyperactivity in children. That's right. All those years you spent rationing cupcakes and hiding the cookie jar, thinking you were averting a tiny sugar-fueled apocalypse? Mostly for naught. So what is happening? Well, think about when kids usually get a sugar overload. Parties, celebrations, exciting events. The environment itself is usually stimulating and chaotic, and kids, being kids, respond to that excitement with, you guessed it, excitement. Plus, there's a massive psychological component. If you expect a child to be hyper after sugar, you're more likely to notice and interpret their normal energy as hyperactivity. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, seasoned with a dash of observational bias. Basically, you blamed the Skittles when you should have blamed the birthday clown. Number 9. Cracking knuckles causes arthritis. You're sitting in a quiet room, maybe a library, perhaps a tense meeting, when suddenly, crack! Someone unleashes a symphony of knuckle pops. Immediately, a chorus of disapproving glares and dire warnings follows. You're going to get arthritis. It's a statement delivered with the gravitas of a medical diagnosis, passed down through generations like an ancient, bony curse. The logic seems sound, right? You're grinding bone against bone, or so we assume, wearing down your joints, leading straight to a future of gnarled, painful fingers. It just feels intuitively correct. But let's pull back the curtain on this old wives' tale, shall we? Decades of research, including some delightfully dedicated scientists who cracked their own knuckles for half a century, true story, have found absolutely no significant evidence linking knuckle cracking to arthritis. None. Zip. Nada. So what's that satisfying sound then? It's not bones rubbing. It's actually tiny gas bubbles made of nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide in the synovial fluid that lubricates your joints. When you stretch or bend your fingers, you create negative pressure, causing these bubbles to collapse, or pop. It's like popping bubble wrap, but with your anatomy. The only real danger is possibly annoying those around you. So feel free to pop away, you magnificent bubble wrap enthusiast. Just remember, the only thing you're likely to damage is your social standing in a quiet room. Basically, your joints are just having a little internal gas release, and your grandma was misinformed. Number 8. Cold weather gives you a cold. Winter. The season of cozy sweaters, hot cocoa, and the inevitable fear that stepping outside without a hat will instantly lead to a hacking cough and a runny nose. Your mom warned you, your grandma warned you, heck, even your cat probably gives you a judgmental look if you leave the house with wet hair. It's a fundamental truth. Cold weather equals cold. Period. We bundle up, avoid drafts, and generally hibernate, all to escape the clutches of the common cold, which surely lurks in every icy gust of wind. Here's where common sense takes a nosedive off an actual glacier. Cold weather itself does not give you a cold. Viruses give you a cold. Specifically, rhinoviruses are the primary culprits. You can stand naked in a blizzard for an hour, please don't for other reasons, and you won't get a cold unless a virus hitches a ride into your system. So why do colds seem more prevalent in winter? It's not the temperature, it's the behavior. In colder months, we spend more time indoors, in close proximity to other people. This creates a perfect breeding ground for airborne viruses. Plus, lower humidity, common indoors during winter, allows cold viruses to survive longer in the air and on surfaces, making transmission easier. Your immune system might be slightly less effective in extreme cold, but the main villain is still the virus, not the thermometer. So that shivering sensation isn't a direct delivery system for sickness, it's just your body complaining about the weather. Basically, your seasonal sniffles are less about the weather forecast and more about Aunt Carol's unfiltered cough at Christmas dinner. Number 7. You only use 10% of your brain. This one is a classic. It's the go-to line for every self-help guru, every sci-fi movie character with burgeoning psychic powers, and every well-meaning relative trying to motivate you to do more with your life. Imagine what you could accomplish if you only used 100% of your brain, instead of just 10. The implication is clear. Vast, untapped potential, a hidden cerebral superpower just waiting to be unleashed if only you'd try harder. It's an incredibly appealing thought, suggesting that our everyday struggles are just because we're operating on a tiny fraction of our true cognitive horsepower. Here's the inconvenient truth. You use virtually all of your brain, almost all the time. Even when you're just chilling, seemingly doing nothing, your brain is a hive of activity. Different areas light up for different tasks, but even idle parts are busy maintaining basic bodily functions, processing sensory input, or preparing for future actions. Brain imaging technologies like fMRI and PET scans clearly show activity across the entire brain, even during simple tasks like walking or talking. If the 10% myth were true, brain damage from accidents or strokes would have little to no effect, because 90% of the brain would be redundant. Yet, even small lesions can cause profound disabilities. The origin of this myth is murky, possibly stemming from early 20th century psychological theories or misinterpretations of neuroscience research. But it persisted because it's a feel-good idea, offering the tantalizing possibility of unlocking hidden genius. Basically, your brain isn't a sleepy giant. It's an incredibly busy city that never sleeps, and it's always running on full capacity, just not always consciously. Number 6. Eating late at night makes you fat. This is the dietary commandment etched into the tablets of every weight loss journey. Thou shalt not eat after 7 p.m., or 8 p.m., or whatever arbitrary cutoff time your diet guru has decreed. The belief is that calories consumed late in the evening, when your metabolism supposedly grinds to a halt as you prepare for slumber, magically transform into stubborn fat deposits. It's the reason why that midnight snack feels like a clandestine act of sabotage against your waistline, leading to guilt and immediate regret. Let's settle this late-night munchies mystery. The scientific consensus is pretty clear. A calorie is a calorie, regardless of the time on the clock. What matters for weight gain or loss is your total daily caloric intake versus your total daily caloric expenditure. If you eat more calories than you burn, you'll gain weight, whether those calories come from a leisurely breakfast, a midday lunch, or a secretive midnight raid on the fridge. The idea that your metabolism shuts down at night is also a vast oversimplification. Your body is constantly burning calories to keep you alive, even while you sleep. The reason why eating late often correlates with weight gain isn't some metabolic magic trick. It's usually because late-night eating tends to be mindless snacking, often of high-calorie but low-nutrient foods, added on top of your regular daily intake. It's the what and how much, not the when. So that bowl of cereal at 11 p.m. isn't inherently evil. It's only a problem if it pushes you over your calorie limit for the day. Basically, your body doesn't have a strict kitchen closing time. It just counts calories 24/7. Number 5. You need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. It's the hydration mantra, repeated endlessly. 8 glasses, 8 ounces each. A grand total of 64 ounces of water daily. This golden rule of hydration has been drilled into us, a seemingly non-negotiable requirement for good health, clear skin, and optimal bodily function. You see people diligently carrying around oversized water bottles, religiously tracking their intake, all in pursuit of hitting that magical number, fearing dehydration and its myriad maladies if they fall short. Here's the refreshing truth. While staying hydrated is absolutely crucial for health, the 8 glasses a day rule is largely arbitrary and lacks strong scientific backing as a universal target. There's no one-size-fits-all number because individual hydration needs vary wildly based on factors like activity level, climate, diet, health status, and even body size. Athletes in hot climates obviously need more than someone sedentary in an air-conditioned office. Plus, you get a significant amount of water from the foods you eat. Fruits, vegetables, soups, and other beverages like coffee, tea, and even soda, though maybe don't rely on soda for hydration. Your body is actually pretty good at telling you when it needs water. It's called thirst. And checking your urine color, light yellow means you're generally well hydrated, is a surprisingly effective indicator. Relying on thirst and listening to your body's signals is often more effective than rigidly adhering to an arbitrary number. Basically, your body isn't a complicated plumbing system requiring a precise daily refill. It's got a pretty good built-in gauge. Harb number 4. Reading in the dark ruins your eyes. This is another classic parental warning, delivered with serious tones and perhaps a wagging finger. Turn on a light. You'll ruin your eyesight if you read in the dark. The logic feels irrefutable. You're straining your eyes, squinting to make out tiny words in dim light. And surely, this prolonged effort must cause permanent damage, leading you straight to a future of thick spectacles and bumping into furniture. Well, good news for all you secret midnight readers and power outage philosophers. Reading in dim light will not permanently damage your eyes. It might make them tired, cause temporary eye strain, or even give you a headache. You might notice your vision blurs a bit after extended periods, or your eyes feel scratchy. But these effects are temporary. Once you rest your eyes or move into better lighting, your vision will return to normal. The muscles around your eyes might get fatigued, just like any other muscle in your body after a workout, but they don't sustain lasting harm. This myth likely stems from a well-intentioned desire to protect children's eyes, or perhaps from the simple fact that reading in good light is just more comfortable. So go ahead, finish that thrilling chapter under the covers with a flashlight, if you must. Just know your eyes are complaining, not collapsing. Basically, your eyes are tough cookies. They just prefer well-lit literary lounges. Number 3. You lose most of your body heat through your head. We've all heard it, especially from well-meaning relatives on a chilly day. Put on a hat. You lose most of your body heat through your head. This fact has sent millions scurrying for beanies, earmuffs, and absurd fur hats, convinced that without adequate cranial insulation, they'll become human popsicles, rapidly radiating all their precious warmth into the frosty air. It feels logical. Your head is exposed. It's got a lot of blood flow, so surely it's a heat loss hotspot. Prepare for a revelation that might make your bald spot feel less vulnerable. While you do lose heat through your head, because, well, it's part of your body, you don't lose a disproportionate amount compared to other exposed areas. The idea likely originated from a misinterpreted U.S. Army survival manual from the 1950s where soldiers, already bundled in warm clothing, only had their heads exposed, thus losing most remaining heat from that area. If you exposed any part of your body, say an arm or a leg, to cold without covering it, you'd lose a comparable amount of heat from that area. The head simply makes up about 7 to 10% of your body's total surface area. So if your whole body is covered except for your head, yes, you'll lose a significant portion of your heat from there. But if you're equally exposed, say in a swimsuit in the snow, your entire body is losing heat proportionally. Covering any exposed skin helps retain heat. Basically, your head isn't a special heat exhaust vent. It's just another exposed body part that benefits from a cozy hat, just like your fingers benefit from gloves. Number 2. Shaving makes your hair grow back thicker and darker. This is the bane of teenagers everywhere. The whispered fear that if you shave that peach fuzz, you'll suddenly sprout a full-on beard or leg forest that's darker, coarser, and faster growing than before. It's why so many of us hesitated with that first razor, imagining our delicate fine hairs transforming into unmanageable wires. You've seen it, right? That shadow, that perceived roughness just days after shaving. It must be true. Here's the follicle-defying truth. Shaving does not make your hair grow back thicker, darker, or faster. This is one of the most persistent beauty myths, and it's purely an illusion. When you shave, you're merely cutting the hair shaft at its thickest point, just above the skin. This leaves a blunt cut end. When this hair starts to grow back, the blunt tip makes it feel coarser to the touch than the naturally tapered tip of an unshaven hair. It also appears darker because you're seeing the base of the hair, which hasn't been exposed to sunlight or chemical lightening, like bleaching from the sun. As the hair grows longer, it will once again become tapered and appear lighter. Your hair growth is determined by your genetics and hormones, not by how often you run a razor over your skin. If shaving truly made hair grow back thicker, baldness would be a thing of the past, and we'd all be sporting luscious, untamable manes. Basically, your hair isn't getting a power-up from your razor. It's just putting on a blunt disguise. Number 1. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. This is the ultimate insult to aquatic intelligence. Oh, he's got the memory of a goldfish, we say, implying someone is utterly forgetful, unable to retain information for more than a blink of an eye. The image is clear. A tiny orange fish, swimming blissfully in its bowl, instantly forgetting where it was, what it just saw, or even that it exists, every 3 seconds. It's a convenient truth, often used to justify tiny fish bowls or dismiss the complexity of their lives. But prepare to have your preconceptions about pet store inhabitants shattered. Goldfish actually have pretty decent memories, certainly far exceeding a measly 3 seconds. Numerous scientific studies have shown that goldfish can be trained to respond to specific colors, lights, and even sounds to get food. They can navigate mazes, remember feeding times, and even distinguish between different shapes. Some studies suggest their memory can last for several months. For example, a study in Australia trained goldfish to push a lever at a specific time of day to receive food. If they pushed it at the wrong time, they got nothing. The fish quickly learned and remembered the correct timing. This isn't the behavior of a creature with a 3-second recall. The myth likely arose from anecdotal observations in simple, barren fish bowls, where there's little for a fish to interact with or remember. A fish in such an environment might appear disoriented, not because of a bad memory, but because its environment is incredibly boring and unstimulating. So the next time you see a goldfish, maybe give it a little more credit. It's probably remembering that time you tapped on the glass. Basically, your favorite forgetful fish is actually a low-key aquatic savant, and you've been underestimating its brain power this whole time.